Are you afraid opening the setups game? Do you feel like you're going back to high school, looking at all the numbers, and having to do homework, trying to make the car feel like you want it to feel like? It is actually not hard at all. In this video, I'll go over a couple clicks you can easily do to adjust the setup that you're running. We go over a bit what the default setups do compared to setup shop setups, but most importantly, how to adjust those setups to your liking, because depending on anyone's racing style, anyone's level, these setups will be tiny bit different. When you're doing endurance racing, you'll have this problem where you have to make the setup for the whole team, and different people just like different things. So in this, I go over the most important couple settings that you can easily adjust and make the car feel like you want it to feel like to extract the most out of it. Right, so here we are in the setup screen. We are at Algarve from last week, and we're here so I can show you a bit like the difference between fixed setup and track-made setups from, for example, setup shops. I always use and recommend CDA. I look after the setups there. When we go to chassis, which is by far the most important, the tire step you basically never want to touch. You always want to be on the lowest pressures. Fixed will always be on lowest pressures as well. The dampers are very small adjustments in iRacing. Most of the time you leave these alone. There's not that much to do. We want to look into the easy to adjust things to make the car more drivable for us and feel the difference on what the car is doing. So the biggest difference you can see, this is the default one. This setup is made just for fixed, meaning that it will be the same on almost every high downforce track. It is not made for any specific track, any specific conditions, so you're losing a bit of performance. There are different ones, so if you look, there's one for Daytona, for Le Mans, and Nürburgring. So for tracks where you need a very different setup, they have made a different fixed setup for most of them. It's just the same. That means you will be losing a bit of performance. I think the time you lose is maybe between 3 and 5 tenths on a regular track if you drive it optimally. Now, the thing is, it's not just about the time. Oftentimes, what setup shops try to do is make the car much more drivable and enjoyable to drive. For example, some of the fixed setups, they have quite strange ARB settings. They might have very low preload, which makes the car snap into a corner. They might have strange spring rates on the front compared to the rear, meaning that you'll either lack traction or you just understeer everywhere. So the Ford setup is generally considered to be one of the best setups, but still, if we go to the CDA setup, look here, we have a different couple of versions: endurance, quali, and sprint, and the safe versions of that. You can see on this track we can run much lower springs. We can get away with much lower springs, which probably gives us a bit of performance. And run a bit lower on the preload. The setup looks fairly similar. It is going to be a tiny bit different, just a bit more comfortable to drive. But now, if you want to change the setup, you struggle with something, this might look very intimidating, a lot of options. So I want to break it down to the easiest options to change, and the thing that I normally change if I want to make it a bit more stable, a bit more oversteery, stuff like that. So what I want you to ask yourself when you're driving a setup, is it oversteery or understeery? From there, try to split that into low speed and high speed. Now, if we are in low speed and it's oversteery and you're losing the rear, what you can do is you can adjust the ARB anti-roll bars. And it will say on the right side here as well. And what you can do is to move the rear anti-roll bar down a bit. That will give you a bit more grip, a bit more traction on the rear at the cost of a bit of rotation. The other way around as well. If you feel like the car understeers too much, you can go down on the front a bit, or you can down on the rear a bit. And of course, there's a lot of detail into when you want to go up or down on the front or rear. In general, compared to setup shop setups, I just go down on the rear a bit if I'm oversteering too much on low speed. Then the high speed. The high speed is a bit more difficult because we have a rear ring. But on a lot of tracks, you can see we are on the maximum. And what you want to change on the high speed is this setting right here, the rear ride height. And iRacing is a bit of a pain in the ass. They want to make you feel like you're adjusting a real car, which means that if you change this value will start to change, this value will start to change, this value will start to change. It doesn't really matter. I can show you how to adjust them afterwards as well. If you want more understeer on high speed, you go down on this value. Make sure to go down on this side by the same amount. If you want more oversteer, you go up on this value. So let's say I'm losing the car on the rear in the last corner on Algarve, which is a high speed corner. So I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3 down. 1, 2, 3 down. And as you can see, my front splitter height went up a bit. If this goes too low, we just adjust the front ride height. In this case, 0.4, that's one click on each side. We can go down on this again to have this almost the same. You normally want to get this as close to 50 as possible. This is the minimum value. So that's all I want to change if I'm oversteering high speed or low speed. The rear ride height or the rear ARB. Easy as you want. Then if we want to get more rotation, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now you can see we're too low on the front. The setup won't load. Failed tech. Easy as that. 1, 2. Apply, and we're back. There's a lot more to go in depth about, but that's kind of all you need to know about what you want to adjust normally on the setup. Then there's one more thing if you want to go a bit more in depth, and that's on specifically corner entry. If the rear is unstable on corner entry, if you lose the car only on the entry of corners before the apex, oftentimes it means that your preload, so the rear differential, is too open and it makes the rear snap. You could try to immediately go to the brake bias and try to fix it with that. Brake bias normally is set fairly conservative on the setup shop setups. I wouldn't immediately touch that if you're losing the car, just for preference under braking or trail braking. You can go to the differential. And the more you move this preload number up, the more stable the car will be on the entry, the less traction you will have on power. But if you're snapping on entry, you want to go a bit higher on this. And those are the only values that I would ever change, just adjusting a setup shop setup to my liking. And with those values, you can change the car behavior a lot without changing the overall speed. So I hope that helps. And if you want to see another more in-depth setup video like this, I did one on a McLaren quite a while ago, but we can do another one where we go in depth on all of the settings, not just in a GT3 car, maybe in another car as well. Alright, one thing I need to tell you, if you see these values here, front, rear, right at that speed, and you think, oh, I can adjust those because Yuri said the ride height, so rear right height I can change. This is just a calculator. This changes nothing on your setup, it's just a calculator of how much front downforce you'll have. So you have to change it here. So there we go. Those are the most important and easy things to change. If we talk about if it's worth having a setup shop or not, I would say it depends a bit. You can get decent without them. Of course, you can also learn how to adjust the fixed setup yourself. What you're doing with a setup shop is you're paying to make it a bit easier for yourself, to save a bit of time, save yourself a bit of learning as well. To basically always just get in the sim and get the optimal settings to make you gain those last couple turns, and also make it feel nicer, for example, over a couple curbs and a couple struggle corners, so you don't have to tinker around with it yourself. You just load the setup, and with this video you can adjust a tiny bit more to what you like the driving to be. So is it worth it? It depends what you're looking out of it. I would say they're very nice though for what you're trying to get if you just want to jump in the sim and get something feeling nice, and I would say the experience is a lot better than just having a fixed setup everywhere. So hope you liked the video. If you have a suggestion what I should do next, leave them down in the comments. I have quite a couple of videos lined up already, but I always like to hear what we should do next. And yeah, at 5k subs, that's the next goal. I will do a full 10-hour stream, do some nice things in that as well. Not sure what we have planned yet. And then this year the goal is to get to 10k subs, and as a goal or celebration getting to 10k subs, I will do a big grind on iRacing to finally get to 10k rating. So no more just driving around. We finally lock in and get that 10k number. Now that it's been like 4 years or something since I should have got it. So at 10k subs, we lock in and get 10k rating, and maybe get, I don't know, we try to push up a bit on the leaderboards again. I fell off. I was almost in the top 10 rating, and then everyone started farming, and I'm just driving on the Smurf account. So that's the reward for 10k. Let's push and let's get it.